My name is Tim Gibson. I'm a teacher with Fast Track Training. I'd like to introduce my colleague here, Rahil. Ghazni.
Nice to meet you. My name is Rahil Ghazni. I'm Director of Fast Track Training. I'm also a teacher here, and we teach citizenship exams. We also do driving theory, taxi training, and many other training courses. You can see it all on our website. And today, do we have a treat for you? This is video number 2.
You're lucky today then.
What are we teaching today? We're teaching Middle Ages and history. Next part of the history. And we're going to teach you again everything from the book, everything that's important. So just watch these videos, sit back, have a cup of tea, relax, and don't read the book. Just watch these videos and share with your friends and subscribe if you find them very enjoyable. Lesson 2, the Middle Ages. So the Middle Ages is also called the Dark Ages and is from 1066 to 1485. You see the English kings are starting to fight with the Welsh, the Scottish and the Irish. In 1284, Wales becomes part of England. It is annexed to England. 1284 was the Statute of Rhuddlan, and 1314 was the Battle of Bannockburn. Bannockburn, the Scottish won and the English lost, and 1284 Wales becomes annexed.
I believe in 1314 the Scottish one, because hadn't they got somebody called Robert the Bruce to lead them?
Robert the Bruce, yeah.
Who was hiding in a cave, and when he was at a low point and he saw a spider building its web, and he watched how persistent he was, and he decided to model himself on that spider. And that led to the success of the Scottish in the Battle of Bannockburn.
Quite right, actually. Yes, that's actually a very successful analogy for slowly building something.
Yes.
Slowly building something.
Yes. Yes, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing, yes.
The Battle of Bannockburn in 1314 was between Scotland and England, and the Scottish people were led by Robert the Bruce, whose statue you can see there, ably crowned by a seagull.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be too interested in the proclamation.
Yes, I never noticed the seagull until now. We also have the Crusades that were happening at the same time in the Holy Land of Palestine. If you can see on the sign, it says Palestinia. This is a place where a lot of people are fighting for Jerusalem, the Muslims, they're fighting for the Holy Land. But there's not very much in the book about it, so we don't really cover it very much. It's just about this one. So there's nothing much more to say about this.
No.
But the 100-Year War, the 100-Year War between England and France actually lasted 116 years, and 1415 you had the Battle of Agincourt, where the English were outnumbered 3-1, and the French marched into a very muddy field, and the English longbow cut down all of the men in armour, and there was a time in the battle where there was more prisoners of war on the French side than there were soldiers to look after them. And the English one.
Yes, so the rout for the French is the English one.
Yes.
Right.
Do we say route or route?
Route.
Route to go somewhere.
Yes, route if it's you're sending them all packing.
Oh right, route, yes, of course. Because the Americans say route for route and route.
Yeah, probably do actually, yeah.
Right, yes.
In the Battle of Agincourt, there was King Henry V on the throne in England, and it was England versus France. And England left France in the 1450s.
I believe he died 3-4 years after he had the Battle of Agincourt.
Did he? Yes.
But he was massively influential for winning the battle and securing places in France, and also for destroying the aristocracy of France, because they all marched in the front foremost because they thought they were going to capture loads of English aristocracy,
yes.
But they didn't. In fact, they all died, the French, and they took them years to recover, and they never did properly recover. But he died a few years later. But the culture of the English longbow was very popular from this battle, and it prevailed throughout the history of England. The longbow became very famous for a war winner, and all children were
yeah, a bit like the Spitfire in World War II then.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We're actually going to get to that as well. We're getting to that, which is wonderful.
I always jump the gun, don't I?
No. But that's like 800 years later.
Yeah.
No, 600 years later.
Feudalism.
Would you like to sit so?
Yes, if you wish. Feudalism is a sort of a system of order that begins with the king at the top of the triangle and the queen, and then in the next part you've got the lords and the ladies, the nobles, and below them you've got the knights, and at the very lowest end, the lowest rung, you've got the peasants and the serfs. The serfs are the people who grow food and work for the lords. They are either paid or unpaid employees, if you like. I suspect unpaid.
Yeah. So, servants. Serfs. The way we remember it is the serfs serve the Lord serves the king. And so the servants grow the food for the lords sell the food for money to give back to the king, and the king requests an army for war. He gets the army from the lords, and the banners, he calls all the banners to him, and it's a triangle. This is called feudalism. It's the same as you have now. You pay tax to have your house, and the house goes to the government then is the lord of the land. Same thing. In your exam, it's 1348 Black Death, that's fine. What did the Black Death do? There was less cereal crops in the field because the crops were rotting. There wasn't enough people to pick
harvest
them. Yes, were you going to say that?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
No. I was going to say just there were less cereal crops, and the serfs came into competition with the landowners. There was because of the shortage of food from less cereal crops, and we begin to see the development of a middle class as a kind of a buffer between the landowners and the serfs. The Black Death was actually spread by rats, I believe.
Yes. Interesting that they say now with the further research there was the fleas on the rats. But yes, there's rats from the Silk Roads. Yes. What happened was through the Silk Road there was trade ships, and the rats were on the trade ship. They went into the cities and they spread the plague. It might have been the flies on the plague, but it was spread. And we don't have any pictures of the Black Plague, and the reason being it's actually very, very distressing. Onions, boils as big as onions on your neck and in between your legs and your armpits, and your fingers go black, you cough for a long time, and then you die. Very contagious, very bad. And that's about it for the exam. We can tell you more, but you don't need to know more. That's everything for the test. That's everything.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is how it spread. You can Google it and look up more.
Next.
I like this part.
Oh God, you can do this.
King John 1215 Magna Carta, Latin for the Great Charter.
Yes.
Because we live in Nottingham, the Robin Hood, Robin Hood story comes from the time of King John. The sheriff of Nottingham goes out to collect taxes for just the ransom of King Richard the Lionheart, but actually he was collecting taxes very harshly before the ransom of King Richard the Lionheart. That just became something later on. But King John also was not very popular king, and they signed a Magna Carta, a Great Charter, to reduce the power of the king and increase the power of the nobles, so that the nobles weren't told, oh, we need to get this much soldiers, this much food, this much this, and he was the king at the time, so your king can do what he wants.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've learned something myself then now. So learnt a lot. I think the Magna Carta was located near Nottingham, actually.
Yeah, it was signed. Yes.
Well, here we are now. It's Parliament, London, which is made up of the House of Lords, who are the titled nobles. They sit in what we call the Upper House, and the House of Commons, where the MPs, the members of Parliament, sit, which we call the Lower House.
The House of Lords are filled with bishops, doctors, judges, clergy people who are friends of the Queen, as in the Queen has to give them lordship in order for them to sit in the House of Lords. The House of Commons is for the common people, members of Parliament or MP, and that's for you and me to get it to power. The House of Lords does not have the power, the House of Commons has the power. And the power goes with the common people. Common law is based on the process of precedence, meaning that earlier cases dictate the future. So we follow earlier decisions, and this was made during this time. Not too much in the exam about this, no need to go too much into it. We will cover something else a little bit later. Culture and identity now.
Right. Well, it's the culture and identity is made up of two parts. It's made up of the Norman French, who settled here under William the Conqueror, and the Anglo-Saxons, who were here before. And the two together now compose the English people.
You also have French words in the English language, such as apple, cow, imbecile, terrible, terrible, many French words in English words. They're from the Latin, and French has its Latin derivative words. It's all part of the same Latin family of words, such as Arabic is the same, is the derivative of many Asian, those languages like Urdu and so on and so forth. English is the derivative of Latin, which comes from French and Anglo-Saxon mixed together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
In actual fact, the word Anglo is now been crops up as England. I mean, England is a corruption of Anglo-land.
Okay.
Yes. So in other words, I suppose the Anglo-Saxons had a greater say in the merging of the two cultures.
Very good.
Right.
Very good. We're learning.
When am I? Oh yes, Geoffrey Chaucer, the Canterbury Tales. First book to be printed by William Caxton. Who
Have you?
I've not read it, no.
I've only read one story at college, The Nun's Priest's Tale.
Oh, yeah.
And Chanticleer, the Cockerel.
Oh. I know it's made up of people's different experiences.
That's right.
When they went on a pilgrimage to Canterbury, which was the centre of the English religion.
I think it's the two stories when they're going up on pilgrimage, two stories to come back, but the author, Geoffrey Chaucer, died before he could complete it, so the book is unwritten, unfinished.
That's a shame.
But William Caxton was the first person to print the book. Before this, books were printed, books were written, and William Caxton brought the printing press from Italy on 3 large ships. It was so big, and if the ships had sunk, that would have been the end of William Caxton. Yeah, because it was literally his entire fortune, and that was it. But when he came back, he was able to get printing press started, and that was it. It was just, it was a magnificent machine. So Italy was doing it first, then England. William Caxton brought it over to England. He bought one.
That's good.
Scottish poets.
John Barber, the Bruce.
So John Barber is a Scottish poet. He's written the Bruce, and if you can remember Scotland and the Bruce, these are Scottish things, so you can remember that as well.
Buildings, castles and cathedrals.
You're talking about the Lincoln Cathedral?
Yes, it's a beautiful building.
It's a beautiful building.
It's very imposing, and it stands on the top of a hill, and it commands a vast view of the surrounding countryside.
Have you ever been up? Have you been up to the top?
Yes.
I've
not been up to the top.
I would love to see.
Yeah, but that's quite famous. It's the gnome in the roof of the cathedral. The gnome.
Yeah, but I don't know what that's about though. Is it someone just having a laugh?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. I think it's probably something to do with evil spirits.
Yeah. Probably. We'd have to be there as a stonemason to understand that.
That's true.
Yes. So, Lincoln Cathedral.
A landmark in English, in England. Here we have another cathedral, York Minster, which has stained glass windows. Not quite so imposing as Lincoln Cathedral.
Beautiful stained glass.
But still a beautiful one.
Yes.
A lot more Gothic in its architecture.
Yes, we're going to talk about Gothism. We're going to talk about it.
Now this is one I can do probably. Edinburgh Castle. It's very imposing. Notice there's a big hill which comes right in the centre of Edinburgh. And it looks so odd seeing this castle perched on this hill right in the middle. Right slap bang in the middle of the city of Edinburgh. Very imposing. Very beautiful.
Yes.
And the road up to it is called the Royal Mile. It's all quaint and stone. And the roads are cobblestone.
I've gone there 2 times to go to Edinburgh Castle, but I've never been inside Edinburgh Castle.
I haven't.
Because It was so windy to go. We should go Edinburgh Castle. We should go Stonehenge. We should go Edinburgh Castle. We should go
Birdwatch. These ancient monuments.
The armour of Tipu Sultan is in there. So if any of you are a fan of Indian colonial history, Tipu Sultan was killed. He was a fearless warrior, shot to death, and they were so scared that he would still be alive that they waited for hours to see he might be feigning his death. But no, he was dead at that point. But he'd killed many a man at that point and was a fearless warrior. But his armour is there, so you can see that.
Another castle, quite well known in England, is the one in Windsor, called Windsor Castle. It's one of the residences of the Queen's.
Because the Queen's name is Windsor, isn't it? Elizabeth Windsor.
Yeah.
So this is her castle.
This is her castle, yes.
So this is London. So Edinburgh Castle, Scotland, was it not?
Yes, Windsor's not in London, it's on the edge of it.
Oh, right.
London.
Oh, right. West, right.
Sorry, I shouldn't have.
No, because I don't know these things. But they're not going to get you past the exam as such. It's just, I mean, for these questions, the only two questions that comes on the exam is which two castles are still being used today: Edinburgh Castle and Windsor Castle. That's the answer.
Okay, there we go. Wool merchants. How we traded with France, Germany, Italy, and Holland. We presumably sold woolen garments, did we, or the wool?
As in, at
these
the time, wool was the biggest export of England.
Yeah.
Then, after the colonies in Australia went up, all the expertise and all the wool was now exported from Australia, and Australia still exports the most amount of wool.
Because there's loads of sheep.
Yes, and sun, and sheep and sun.
Yeah.
Right.
War of the Roses. That was a civil war involving two factions in England, the House of Lancaster
Henry Tudor
and the House of York under King Richard III.
So we call these gulab. In Urdu it means rose, gulab. So the war, the jung of the gulab or jung of the roses, white rose, safed rang ki rose and red rang ki rose.
That's right.
Then the Battle of Bosworth, which is not far from here.
No, it's near Leicester actually.
Yeah.
The Battle of Bosworth field.
I've never gone there. I'd like to see Battle of Bosworth.
King Richard III was killed there. He was in the House of Tudor, and King Henry VII succeeded him.
Yes, and he married the niece of the king, of the person that he killed. So he killed the other king, married the niece, connected the families, and said, "Right, now I'm going to put your white rose inside our red rose, and we're going to be connected forever."
And there it is.
And if there's any problems, we're gonna have problems.
Yeah.
So wars, Parliament, land ownership, Black Death, English language and culture, and the War of the Roses in the House of Tudor. That's what we covered in today's lesson, which is really good. That was a really good one.
Yes, Middle Ages. Yeah. It was an interesting time in English history.
It was an interesting time in English history. The Dark Ages, the Middle Ages, the Black Ages. Yes. Yeah. So we've covered that. That's lesson 2.
Good.
Again, none of these questions really comes in the test super hard, but if you don't want to read the book, this is a fantastic thing to do. Just watch the videos much as you can, and just enjoy it. This is a present for you guys for subscribing to our channel, for being part of Fast Track Training and its 1,000 subscribers. Thank you, and please watch these videos and enjoy.
We hope you enjoyed them, and we hope it helps pass your exam as well. So good luck.
Good luck, Fast Trackers.
Yeah, good luck.
Subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, get in touch with us if you need to become British. This is what we're here to do. Have a wonderful day, Fast Trackers.
Bye.